glad you've chosen to spend your Saturday morning with us. We know as busy women, there are lots of things you can do with your time, and you've given generously of it to be with us today, and we appreciate that. It is quite a view to look out. I wish you all could see the view I see. To look out and see nearly 500 women who have chosen to come to the Inspire Women Conference today. Today, through our speakers, I hope that you are encouraged and inspired and maybe even challenged a little bit through what you hear. I hope that you get a chance to laugh and to reflect and to think and to connect with other women right here in our community. Most importantly, I hope that for whatever reason that brought you to Inspire Women today, that you find what you came here for. The Inspire Women Conference is presented by Heels Together. And some of you may be wondering, what is Heels Together? So glad you asked. Let me tell you about it. So you all are helping me out a lot today. Heels Together is a women-led initiative here in our community to enhance the lives of women and girls. Primarily, we do this through grant funding for new and innovative programs that can give opportunities and new experiences for women and girls right here in our community. In our first 3 years, over 60 women have invested in this Heels Together mission. Our investors believe that through intentional focus and direction, women and girls in our community can be strengthened. And because of this belief, and through their own generosity, we have given out over $62,000 to grants that you will hear about today. Oh, thank you, Ollie. We couldn't have today's program without the hard work of our Heels Together investors, but also without the support of Fort Knox Federal Credit Union. And with me today is Holly Stapleton, and she's going to tell us a little bit about Fort Knox Federal Credit Union and why they support the Inspire Women Conference.
Thank you so much, Devette. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. It is our distinct honor once again to be able to sponsor the Inspire Women Conference, sponsored by Heels Together. I think this is a fantastic event. We're so proud to be a part of this. And I know you all are expecting me to spend 10 minutes talking about the credit union, how we were established in 1950. We have over 100,000 members, and that we're over 1.5 billion in assets, and that our goal is to give back to the community, not only support your financial lives, but to support the communities we serve. But I'm not going to do it. So we're going to go ahead and let you get right to the conference, and I'm going to go ahead and draw two names. Two people. One, we have a $100 spa gift card, and we have the floral arrangement. So, Devette, if you'd like to draw, yes. Why don't you draw a ticket for me here? This is for the floral. Okay. Z. Coward. Yay! And if you'll come by our table after the event, we'll get you the flowers and the gift card. And, drum roll please. I can't do that. Our $100 Spa Finder gift card goes to Nita Allen. Congratulations. Again, Fort Knox Federal Credit Union is proud to be a part of the community, and we are dedicated to improve all the areas we serve. So, do we have any credit union members out there? Great. We're happy to hear that, and thank you so much for your support. Thank you, Devette.
Thank you, Holly. I know we are all looking forward to some inspiration and probably some laughs from our headliner, Heather Land, a little later in our program. Before it's time for Heather to come out, I'm excited that you're going to get to hear firsthand from some local women here in our community that bring inspiration, I'm sure to many of you and to lots of others. Every day they live out what it means to support and build up women in their various roles, their work life, personal, and family life. I consider it an honor to work with and call them friends. I find encouragement and strength in the many women in our community who, sometimes quietly and sometimes boldly, work to create opportunities and experiences that our community must have for our women to be successful, for our community to be successful, not only today, but most importantly, for the girls that will follow us. To help lead this conversation, I'm going to introduce a name and a voice that is probably very familiar to most of you from Quixie's morning show, Holly Sexton.
Morning. Hi. Am I on? Hi. Well, good morning. You all have kids, right? Yeah, have jobs, you have responsibilities, and you decided to come today to celebrate women with us, and it shows a lot about you, all the way up there in the balcony too, that you care about women, and that you care about our daughters and our sons, and you care about the future of women. So thank you all for being here. And who won the spa day? Looking around. Take me with you. Hi. All right, everyone get comfortable because we're going to chat a little bit and learn about heels together before Heather Land comes out. Heather can hear you backstage, by the way, so if you came here to see Heather, give her a round of applause. Yeah. All right. So we welcome to the stage lots of familiar faces. Once they get out here, you'll be like, oh, I know who that is. Nanette Johnston is here with us. Come on out, Nanette. Christy Pritchard, Teresa McMahon, and Elizabeth Waters. Come on out to the couch, chair, make yourself at home. All right. It takes a lot of courage to do what they're doing, and that includes coming up here. So let's shake it out a little bit. We're just going to, yeah, exactly. We're going to chat this morning. We're going to educate all of our audience members, and me too. I have a lot to learn about what Heels Together has been up to. But first, let's start with Nanette. Would you introduce yourself to our friends here?
I'm Nanette Johnston. I worked for 35 years for Hardin County Schools, starting as a teaching assistant, a teacher, and then an administrator. I retired in June of 2016. I couldn't stay away from education, so I still work part-time. That's the key word, part-time. I coach in school districts. I do training for new superintendents in Kentucky. And I'm very proud to lead an organization in Kentucky called Kentucky Women in Education Leadership to help women aspiring to be executive level leaders have the courage to do so. So I do that. I've been married for 40 and a half years.
What?
To my best friend, Kenneth Johnston. We have two wonderful children. Kyle, that has, and Jen have 3 daughters, 7, 4, and 15 months. And our daughter Ashton and Chad have 8-month-old identical twin girls. So 5 granddaughters is another reason why I believe in Heels Together.
Thank you, Nanette. All right, Christy, if you don't know, this is Christy Pritchard. Christy, introduce yourself.
All right, good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Oh, there's a lot of people to imagine naked. Goodness gracious. Yes, I'm Christy Pritchard. I am a social scientist. I'm an archaeologist here in Elizabethtown. I've been here about 10 years. My husband, family, the Pritchards, have been here, and the Montgomerys a very long time, and that's what brought us here about 10 years ago. I have a son who just turned 12, so I am momming it today. I got about 4 hours of sleep from a sleepover last night. And some 5 a.m. gamers this morning. It was pretty exciting. So I know I have some empathy out there, and sympathy probably too. I was scrubbing off red dye from ice cream cake icing last night.
Yes.
If y'all tried to ever cut one of those?
Yes.
Yeah, I think I ended up with a machete in the end trying to whack that thing, and I ended up with red icing everywhere. It's a mess. Anyway, I've got a 12-year-old boy and a daughter who is about to turn 9, and they are the reason that I try to put my best foot forward and put some hard work into this community, and particularly Heels Together, because it is just as important for my son to see the women role models and see these initiatives as it is for my daughter to grow up participating in them. That is extremely important to me.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, gosh, that's
I'll get to you in a minute.
Let's
You're good.
I'm good.
Yeah,
Okay,
you're good.
so that's me in a nutshell. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for coming out this morning. This is important.
Teresa McMahon, introduce yourself.
So my name is Teresa Renee McMahon. I am an attorney here in Elizabethtown, Kentucky at Loneman and McMahon. I started there in about 2002, fresh out of high school, and have been working there ever since. And then I went on to get my law degree at Ohio Northern University. I've been practicing law here in the community since 2009 and managing our firm since 2015. So outside of that, I'm very community passionate. I'm not married, no kids, but have 8 nieces and nephews that tend to run around everywhere. But spend a lot of time back with the business, running that, and back into the community and lots of organizations here, not only Heels Together, but Junior Women's Club. They're here helping out with us today with Young Lawyers Division of the Kentucky Bar Association, Young Professionals Network with Chamber, lots of community orientation. So that's me.
All right, thank you. And I just met Elizabeth backstage for the first time, so hi. Tell everybody about yourself. I know you're a busy mama too, right?
Yes. My name is Elizabeth Waters. I'm an orthodontist at Duplessis Orthodontics. I'm going on my 5th year, so that's exciting. I don't feel like the newbie anymore. I'm married to Jason, who I've known since we were 5 years old, which is kind of cool. And we have a 3-year-old son who is wild. Wild. We're about to add another son come the end of May.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Thanks. So,
And her
I love
teeth
what you said,
are
Christy.
perfect. I just want to note that. Your teeth are perfect.
Well, thanks.
Yes.
Guess they have to be, huh?
Yes, right? Yeah. So why do you care so much about Heels Together? Why are you here today? Why are you here on a Saturday telling everybody, stepping out of your comfort zone?
Besides DeVette Sweeney making.
Besides DeVette, yeah.
I was involved a lot with a philanthropic fraternity at St. Louis University, and so I just am passionate about giving back to the community that you live in. So when I was at school in St. Louis, that was some of our most fun memories, is giving back and doing service projects for people in inner city St. Louis that needed us so much. And so when we moved back here 10 and a half years after college, and I found Heels Together and saw that they were giving back to women and children and people that you're passionate about, and it just was a good fit. It was really a good fit.
Well, thank you for being here today. I appreciate it. All right, Christy, you're on deck. You ready? Awesome. As a woman business manager working in the science field, she mentioned we hear archaeologist, but there's also another component to that. So what is that again?
So I'm an anthropologist. I'm a social scientist.
Okay. Social scientist. You've traveled and lived around the country. What have you seen that demonstrates why a program like Heels Together is so important to women?
So I'm going to back it up just a little bit, because I think the first step for me was recognizing that I'm a woman of privilege. I am. I'm a white middle class raised in an insulated small town in middle America. That's the raw of it. You know, I was born into that. I got privilege. My parents, who are here in the audience, paid for me to go to undergraduate for all of that. That is rare. The first step for me in getting to where I am now was recognizing that. That's huge. You have to recognize where you are and what you're given to be able to help other people attain that. So that's where I'll start. And then, sure, in my job, I'm a contractor for Department of Defense. I consult with them all over the country for Veterans Administration, for the Coast Guard, for the Marines. I work with those agencies and the individuals in them. I teach a field school down in Central America every year, which is a developing area of the world. And that has given me exposure to many, many, many types of women, many of which do not have access to the tools and the resources that I have access to. That's a huge eye-opener. So that's really what set me on the path to where I am now and wanting to be involved in initiatives like this. And sorry, I've got some notes, or I'm going to forget some key points I want to make. One thing that stands out to me is a statistic I'm going to tell you quickly, that's 40% of households in this country are supported by single mother incomes. We all know the pay gap for women, there's a gap between women and men, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's even bigger for women, for mothers, just mothers in general. 40% of our households are supported by single mothers. That is huge. So, you know, to me, providing the social and economic tools or access to them is critical. I mean, just absolutely critical to kind of trying to close that gap. And by doing that, we're helping everybody. Like I said, I have a son, and I think that's just as important, if not more important, actually, for him to understand that than it is for my daughter, who's also been born into this this world of inequity, I'll say. So, to me, we need to recognize that. We need to make steps moving forward, like Heels Together initiatives, to help close that gap. And it needs to start here at home. It needs to start right here at home in our community. And that's one of the beautiful things about this initiative is it's right here. We're helping create programs to empower women and girls right here in our community so that then they can spread their wings and branch out and hopefully do the same in other communities anywhere they go. That's really it in a nutshell. That's why I think it is just so important, to me anyway, and to anybody else who wants to get involved with this. That's what Heels Together is all about, I think, at its core.
That sounds like a challenge, I'm just saying. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Christy.
You're welcome.
Nanette, for people, during your intro, you talked about your time as superintendent, briefly. Did your career path influence your decision to become part of Heels Together? Because you're already doing a Kentucky-led initiative for women.
It absolutely did. Similar, throughout my life, I was surrounded by a support system that, and many of you probably are as well, people that were around me saying, when I said, no, I can't, they say, yes, you can. So as I faced different things in my life and things that I didn't think I could do, I had people around me saying, yes, you can. I did not want to be superintendent. I had no aspirations to be superintendent. In fact, when I was in graduate school, I said to my professor, I will never be a superintendent.
Never say never.
You never say
ever.
never. And frankly, I think it was because I thought it was bigger than me. I was afraid. In my community, I didn't want to fail around the people that I love. It wasn't like I was moving somewhere, and if it didn't work out, I could just move away.
Yeah.
I wasn't going anywhere. If I hadn't gotten a phone call from people that did believe in me and asked me to be interim superintendent, I would never have applied to be superintendent. So I was called by Board of Education and asked to serve as interim superintendent. And again, the people around me said, yes, you can. And I did, and applied for superintendent only because my plan was I was going to only be interim. When somebody applied that would be pretty good, I was going to pull my name and go back to doing director of early childhood, which is something I just dearly love.
Okay, and we have to stop that right now. Can we agree that we need to stop that? To say until somebody more qualified steps up, I'm going to fill in this blank.
And that's what happens. That's traditionally, that's the way women are set up. Somebody else, I'll just step back and let somebody else do it. And I didn't want to work for who applied for, so I decided I wouldn't work. So it was a man, actually. So I thought, I don't want to work for that person. So after, that's one way to get there. For a woman, it's not a ladder. It's a jungle gym. Because we have to navigate being a mom, being a wife, and you take steps in different ways. But that support system is what gets you there. So after 10 years, I retired. I was 10 years as superintendent. And when DeVette shared this opportunity, I thought, you know what? We need to surround our girls and women and say, yes, you can.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think we need that in this community because some people don't have that support system. And I knew that this would create that support system for women. The potential is there. And so many times women don't step up and girls don't step up because they just aren't sure that they can. Mm-hmm. And yes, they can. And I think it takes all of us pulling together as a community and a village to say, yes, you can, and help them to be successful as well. So
yes,
I want to be part of that.
Thank you. Teresa, why did you choose to invest in Heels Together?
Okay. So it's along the same lines of a little bit of what's already kind of been talked about. But so as Nanette's saying, you come together. You can do more with a group of women than you can do alone. The funds will go further, just the teamwork and all of that, you're just able to do more. And coming together with like-minded women is very great to be able to be a part of. And just to be able to also surround yourself with these great women business leaders. I mean, I can't believe I'm sitting up here with these people, but, and I heard Nanette speak a couple years ago at a conference like this and talk about how she never intended to be superintendent, never actually even wanted, and that was very moving to me then, just in some of the stuff, the career field that I do, and some of the things that have been approached to me, and to just sit back and listen to her and hear that, it's just very empowering. But with Hills Together specifically, because there's lots of stuff that you can put your money and time into, and I try to think about that when trying to think about that question. As has been said, all of the stuff goes back into this community. It's not going out elsewhere. You're making a difference in this community around you, and you get to be hands-on with this community around you. As an investor, you get to help make a choice as far as where those funds are going to be allocated, and you get to be a direct part of that. And then you get to see, as we'll see here today, how that's impacted. What difference did that make? So you're not only just sending out resources or sending it out and never seeing what come of that. You get to then turn around and they come back to you, and you get to see, yes, that really made an impact on that person and those women and those children and so forth, and you get to see the difference that it makes in the community throughout the years. So that's why Hills Together, we can make a larger difference in this community and see the impact that it makes.
And just a side note about that, what did you see? Was there a person that contacted you? How did you find out about joining?
About Hills Together?
Yes.
Probably between Devette and Lindsay. So just reaching out from them, and so.
They thought of you and what your ethos as a person to say, I care about other women, and you help women and children all the time in your work.
We do. Yes, yes. So, yeah.
Right. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Elizabeth, what do you see Heels Together doing in our community? You mentioned St. Louis. What do you see here?
Heels Together has only been around for a few years, and so they've done so much in the short amount of time that they've been together. They do a lot the past few years with STEM, and so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics with young women in schools. So the Hardin County Schools you'll hear from soon with the Shattered Glass Summit, and then STEMtastic just happened at E-Town School Systems.
STEMtastic.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so it's just bridging that gap between male and female and saying, yes, you can. Yes, you can be an engineer. Yes, you can be a computer programmer. You can do anything you want to do when you have that backing and you have that exposure. Because as you'll hear from the girls coming up, they wouldn't have had that exposure. If you like to code or you'd heard about coding for computers, you may have just heard about it. You wouldn't have had the actual experience. So there's only 25% of women that are in fields with STEM in their career. So if we can get that up higher, that would be awesome.
Well, one of the reasons we're here.
And that's one of their big couple of grants that we've given out with Heels Together has been STEM. The other one is Heels Academy, which was the first grant given, and that is getting women together that need a little boost. They need to get job ready. They need to be self-sufficient. They need a little coaching, and they want a fresh start in life, and Heels Academy is superb at that. So there are just a lot of really cool things they've done in such a short amount of time. We also did a big grant to Silverleaf Domestic Violence Shelter last year for a healing garden. And a lot of other domestic violence shelters had a healing garden. It's just a space outdoors in nature that people can recover and deal with what's happened to them. And now E-Town, Kentucky has a healing garden at their domestic violence shelter. So it's just really cool, the things that Heels Together have done. And it's all about empowering women of all ages and all circumstances. So it's not just middle class, or it's everybody. It's not old, it's not young, it's everybody. So it's really cool. And it's tough being a woman. We have to deal with kids and
Pantyhose.
careers and pantyhose.
Spanx. What did you say? Nope, not today. Yeah.
And heels.
And heels.
And it's neat because the logo for Heels Together, I thought that was really cool when I saw the logo. It's not just a high heel, because I don't wear high heels. It's a flat, and it's a baby shoe. And so it's really the generations of women that they're all about. So that's really neat.
Well said. Christy, you have a sister-in-law who worked with a statewide program similar to Heels Together. Tell us a little bit about that and the influence that it had on you choosing to invest.
Sure. So, yes, one of my sister-in-laws was the executive director of the Connecticut Women's Education and Legal Fund. That is one of the longest-running, oldest, biggest endowment, I think, of an organization of its kind in the country. I had never been exposed to an organization like that before I met my sister-in-law. It is just on a grander scale exactly what Heels Together is about. It's about empowering women and girls and social and economic equity. They have lobbying groups. They develop statewide programs like the ones we're doing here with Heels Together in the local community. And that was just a real eye-opener. And to me, thinking, gosh, wouldn't that be cool if every single state had something like that? So when the concept of Heels Together was brought to me by the group of exceptional women in this community, I immediately thought of my sister-in-law in Guelph and thought, wow, we're going to do this right here. I never in a million years thought, I'd get to be part of something just really so grand with such an impact, and jumped right on it for me. I just jumped right on it. And again, the difference is that we get to do it locally. We get to do it right here. So that hit home with me. And as I learned more about Heels Together and a lot of the initiatives that Elizabeth just mentioned that we've already funded, one of the truly great things about this particular program initiative is that we get to fill in gaps. We in Elizabethtown have an amazing community of philanthropic effort, of organizations that are providing social services to the greater audience, the greater population here. Heels Together, we have pretty loose parameters on our grants, and that allows us to fill in the gaps for a lot of those other programs that have stricter parameters for what they will fund and how they can fund things. So I think that is really important for everybody to know, that we really have loose parameters. I don't know how else to say that. We're pretty, I think, gracious with the things that we will consider. We as a community, not just we on this stage, I need to point that out, that Heels Together, I forget what our membership is currently of investors, but it's growing exponentially. I think we've got quite a awesome group of women across the community putting into this. And while the statewide program was certainly an introduction to me on how and what women can do as a community, like you all pointed out, I think it takes a village. We all know that, right? We all know it takes a village to raise our community up, and I think that's what we're doing here.
We'll wrap up with Teresa before we say goodbye to our investors. Why do you think it's still important and relevant to have initiatives like this specifically for women? Because it's 2018, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But it still goes back to the percentages that Christy shared a while ago. There's still the disparity. There's still a lot of fields where women are minority, or just things that women encounter as we go out into the world. But with that percentage, I mean, we have a lot of women, single mothers out there raising kids, trying to make a difference in the world, and couple that with what Elizabeth said, we just don't have the confidence that men tend to exhibit. And whenever I see a lot, when women encounter that, they struggle more. So I think it's important to invest into initiatives with women and girls, because it makes us a stronger community. And the stronger that we can make our women and girls, the stronger overall our community becomes. If we can invest in those women and girls to overcome those barriers that they encounter out there, to not become discouraged when they lose that confidence, I think we can reduce some percentages in some other areas, such as the poverty in our community, that they don't, become discouraged discouraged and turn to drugs or become dependent where they don't otherwise need to be dependent. So some of the programs that you'll hear about later, we step side by side with them through these programs, case management work and so forth. They're not going to turn to those things, and we're going to have a stronger community, stronger work field, just better overall. So if we can just make that impact and make that difference with our women and girls, it's going to make an impact overall. So that's what I'm passionate about with it. So.
Well, thank you very much, all of you investors. We appreciate you. Our time is up. Quick, it went really quick, didn't it? Yeah, so thank you so much for coming up, and we'll trade, but I know you're excited to see Heatherland too. Yeah? All right, and we'll get to it.
Thank you all.
Thank you, ladies. We appreciate it. Thanks, Christy. All right, next up, a personal friend of mine. She brought some young ladies with her too. Brooke Whitlow created the Shattered Glass Summit for girls to expose them to STEM. You've heard science, technology, engineering, and math mentioned today. We'll talk about related experiences to STEM, also what piqued their interest in those career paths. Shattered Glass Summit was held this past summer with funding from Heels Together. So welcome, Brooke, and she also has some guests with her too, Harper and Claire. Come on out. Hi. How's everybody?
Good, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks. May have to reach around a little bit in this chair to get comfortable again. Okay, you're good? All right, we'll talk a little bit. First, introduce yourself to all of our new friends here.
Hi, I'm Claire Rowell.
I'm Harper Burrow.
I'm Brooke Whitlow, Instructional Technology Coordinator in Hardin County Schools. I always feel like I have to say that whenever I introduce myself.
Sure.
Welcome, everybody.
So let's talk about the Shattered Glass Summit. First of all, what is it? And then we'll go into your connection with Heels Together for that. What is the Shattered Glass Summit?
Well, the Shattered Glass Summit is a 2 to 3 day event that is really anchored in the mission of Shattered Glass, which is to provide opportunities for girls to explore science, technology, engineering, and math, while developing them into innovators and leaders and empowering them to become successful, brilliant, and courageous women like the two that are up here with me today. Our event really focuses on providing those opportunities for 4th through 6th grade girls. We want to not only introduce them to STEM fields, but to really let them play. So we want them to build robots and program the robots and work through the engineering design process, and they learn some computer languages and all kinds of fun things. So the event really just focuses on just that environment of exploration.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's really important because if you're like me, you've been to a VEX robotics competition. Anybody here ever been to a VEX competition? It's a lot of dudes. And that's cool, and we like dudes, but we also want women and girls there as well. So I think that's another reason why it's so important that you're doing this. How old are you?
9.
You're 9. Okay, so you already started with this. Hold that mic up for me, okay? Why did you decide to attend the Shattered Glass Summit?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, Miss Holly, my family and I are really big fans of your show.
Thank you.
Like, my dad calls himself the cranium genius because we never get the calls answered, and he always gets them right. So.
Thank you. Tell him to keep calling. Okay.
Back to the
Perseverance.
question.
Keep trying.
My mom signed us up without telling us, and we were really mad. But when we got there, in the first hour or so, we were like, this is it. Yes, I was like, I need to go apologize to my mom right now. This is the best thing ever, and that is really fun.
Thank you for your honesty. That's fantastic. What about you? Why did you, was it the same situation? Yeah, mom signed you up, you went, and then you're like, this is incredible. Yeah, so what did you like about the summit? You said it was amazing, so what did you like specifically about it?
Well, first, the merch. Claire is modeling it.
The merch, y'all. Okay.
My favorite thing was Ear Sketch. It's where you can code your own music. But we also learned how to play with spheros, drones, Lego robots. We played with circuits and stuff like that. It was like technology heaven.
Was that anything that you'd ever experienced before, or were you pretty familiar with that already?
Pretty familiar with most of the stuff.
Okay. Why were you familiar with it already?
Our mom is very into technology, so she brings home a bunch of it whenever she's at work. She gets stuff and she takes it home and she shows us.
And because I think I had a little bit of influence too in their mom signing them up. Mom's up there in the balcony too. So shout out to Mom.
Did you have to pay? Did Mom have to pay? How much did it cost?
$0.
$0.
Thanks to these amazing and generous sponsors. if it wasn't for you all, little girls like us wouldn't have the opportunity to use technology like we did at the summit, because we are the future, and the future is female.
The future is female. So you are talking to the people who paid for it. What do you want to say to them?
I would like to say thank you all so much. You made this opportunity available to kids all across the county, and it's a blessing to just be able to do this.
So has this had an impact on what career you want to take now?
Yes, because I want to be a videographer or a news broadcaster whenever I get older. I'm even in video broadcasting club at my school, and we do the announcements every Friday. And we use mics, we have to switch the cameras, do cameras. Yes.
So the behind the scenes as well, not just in front of the camera.
Yes.
Fantastic. Brooke, when we started preparing for this, there was a whole list of things that had happened since you got the grant. So you applied for the grant, and then what happened? How was it received?
Well, the community response was overwhelming, and I really think Harper was talking about her career opportunities, and the thing is, statistics show us that careers moving forward, 75% will require STEM-related experience. And so if we are not integrating STEM content, science, technology, engineering, and math into what we're teaching our students, then we are not preparing them for the future. It's very simple. And so what we want to do is to reach not just 4th through 6th grade girls and not just in Hardin County, but we want to provide opportunities for girls everywhere to really have the opportunities that Claire and Harper had this summer. So one of the things that showed up in our parent feedback after the event is reaching a larger audience. So we will be offering smaller mini events for kindergarten through 2nd grade. Help my heart. So we will be offering smaller miniature events for kindergarten through 2nd grade. We're also increasing the cap on our summer event for this summer. We're doing 3 days instead of 2 days, and we're opening up that for 100 3rd through 5th graders. Help my heart again.
I was gonna say, I'm already super excited.
Okay, yeah, I know. Listen, the chatter was all over the place in the car this morning. We were talking about our summer event. So, and something else too that if I had a nickel for every Facebook message that I had after the event, especially around Christmas time, all the moms who had girls who attended Shattered Glass were like, what should I buy? What's a Sphero? I don't know what any of this stuff is. And so I don't know if Holly mentioned this at the beginning, but I teach part-time. I have 17 girls who are in a computer programming class with me at the Early College and Career Center. And so Shattered Glass will be offering credit-based internships, and they will be running the online content for shatteredglass.io. It's a work in progress if you'd like to visit there. But we hope to be able to provide parents and guardians and teachers with support for integrating STEM into their classrooms and in their homes. Like, our kids were coming back home after the event, and their parents wanted to be able to support their excitement, but they weren't really sure where to start. So one of the things that parents can find on our website is support for what these STEM toys are, or where they can go online for, extra help, or how they can encourage that exploration with their kids.
Mm-hmm. So it's not just a one-time camp experience. That's what you're doing on a Friday night, right? You're just hanging out, like working on experiments and stuff like that.
I'm just gonna say, if you want your kids to have the best Christmas present ever, get them a drone.
A drone, all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, and I'll tell you too, after the event, I got texts from Harper and Claire's mom all the time with songs that you were making online and things like that. So we definitely want to encourage parents to also encourage their girls at home to, continue exploring.
Another facet of this Shattered Glass Grant is now reaching kids across Kentucky. I'm very, very excited about the travel program, the passport and travel program. This was the highlight of what I read of everything that you submitted, was that we are going to be sending people out of the country, kids, right?
So what is happening actually next week? In Kentucky, we offer just a state-of-the-art program called the Student Technology Leadership Program. And through that, there are over 14,000 kids that will descend upon Rupp Arena on Thursday. Yes.
Awesome.
So we have STLP programs in every school in our county, surrounding counties. And so what we have and what we'll offer at STLP next Thursday is Shattered Glass, a Global Journey. So students will come into our event space and they will travel with passports to North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Australia. And so when they attend each of those different locations, they will complete a STEM challenge to earn a passport stamp.
Okay.
And those STEM challenges will be inspired by female innovators from that region of the world. So we have 6 different sheroes that they will get to learn about at STLP next Thursday.
Okay, let's get real here for a second about the sheroes. How difficult was that to find? And that should be just a point that we discuss for a minute anyway.
For sure.
How difficult was it for you to locate those? You should have just been able to Google them, right? And
Right.
find some
Well, that
people.
was what I thought too. When we were planning this event, one of my students, Molly New, she's a freshman at Central Hardin. This is the brainchild. This whole Shattered Glass, the Global Journey was her idea. And so as we were developing this, we thought, oh yes, we want to provide sheroes from each region of the world to really highlight diversity and gender equity in STEM across the globe. And as we began the actual nitty-gritty preparation of that, it was really, really difficult to find women engineers, women scientists, especially in specific regions of the world, like South America in particular, was just really difficult and took a lot of research. I actually had to call my cousin, who's a PhD at the National Science Foundation, and she had to go into her archives and to really help me find somebody that we could highlight as a shero from that region of the world. So,
And that is why all this is relevant.
Absolutely.
That right there. Okay, continue.
well, what was my next question? I'm not sure. I could talk about this all day.
We're going to go talk to Heather Land. You got it?
Yeah, I got this. Hey, actually, I think I'm going to let Claire have this, right? You're a featured speaker, Claire.
Okay.
You're the new featured speaker for today.
Hi.
Okay, so Claire, when you take these things that you've learned back to school, how does it make you feel inside? How did it make you feel after this Shattered Glass Summit and then you went back to school?
It made me feel like girls can do anything and that I'm gonna pay attention to science class more. So,
Yes, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so.
What about you?
Well, I feel like I know all this technology now, so I feel a lot smarter. And like what Claire said, I feel like women can do anything. So if someone tells me that, oh, go home and wash dishes, or like they're making fun of women, and then I'm like, wow.
Yeah, what you got against women?
Yeah.
Now, Brooke, we're going to see in this upcoming school year some changes as well, right? More teachers getting involved?
Yes, we are in the process of working on some professional development that will be available to teachers in Hardin County Schools that will focus on next generation science standards and Common Core that really integrate STEM into their everyday curriculum. So we want to encourage STEM education, especially for girls, but also for all of our students in the classroom to be able to have the opportunity to learn those crucial skills to prepare them for their future.
What do you look forward to in the future? I know you have a daughter and a son, and you're doing all of these things on top of being a mom, and we do a lot, don't we? Yeah. I don't know. I do. I mean, you're here. Do you do a lot? Yeah, we do a lot. Why? Like, you could be at home this morning instead of stepping out of your comfort zone to be here.
One of the things that is, really important to me in this journey of women empowerment, especially in STEM, is kind of twofold, actually. I went to a very small high school, and I remember looking back on my high school and middle school and elementary school experience, I had the choice. It was like ag or home ec. Now, I was in ag because I couldn't tell you the difference between a soybean field and a cornfield today, but I was an officer in FFA. But I look back at...
She did it for the jacket,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, the sweet corduroy jacket. Anyway, but I look back at the opportunities that I had, and it really wasn't until I started teaching and dabbling a little bit in computer science in my classroom at East Hardin that I realized that I had an aptitude for computer science and that I loved it. And I think back to if I would have had just a tiny bit of exposure to that in my earlier years, that my journey would look very different. And by no means do I regret my decisions or my choices or anything like that, but I think the lack of interest or the lack of opportunity or the gender inequity in STEM is not because of a lack of interest, it's because of a lack of opportunity. And so I think that my goal through this is just to expose kids to what's out there. And we have a lot of programs like Girls Who Code clubs, and we have our IT programs in our technical centers, and there's lots of stuff for kids, but if you really look, most of those opportunities start in middle school. And so how does a young girl moving into middle school even know that she's interested if there's no exposure prior to 6th grade? And so that's really my focus with Shattered Glass, is bringing STEM, giving it a larger spotlight in the elementary school just so kids can play and have those opportunities. And statistics show us that girls' interest in STEM peaks at age 11, but it significantly drops at age 14. So in my head, I'm no researcher, but I think let's give them as much opportunity to let their interest peak by the time they're 11, so that there's a strong foundation for them to continue their career or their education in STEM topics. So.
Do you feel like you have a strong foundation now?
Who's that question for? Claire?
Claire, sorry.
Me? Oh, okay.
Yes, you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look how confident. I love that. And what about you?
Yes.
Yes. Well, we're going to bring Jerisa Lamons out. Jerisa, are you back there? Hey, come on out. She's waited patiently. Jerisa Lamons. I call her Jerisa Lemons because I love her. Jerisa's here with us as well. And just like the Shattered Glass Summit, and I learned a whole lot about that today, Jerisa, you started Heels Academy.
Yes, I did.
In your spare time.
Yes, I did. Well, first of all, I want to say I had to sit beside this little girl because I was afraid to get on that stool.
Okay, got it.
So.
You're good. All right, Jerisa, tell everybody a little bit about yourself and why you have all this free time.
Well, it's not really free time. It's time that I feel like needs to be spent. There's a lot of women out there who face a lot of barriers that sometimes people don't understand, little intricate things that could really throw off the borders to self-sufficiency. For instance, instead of coming out here and telling you all the programmatic things, I want to tell you a story about one of the girls that we served in Heels Academy. She actually drove from Michigan to Kentucky because she was escaping an abusive boyfriend, and she drove on expired tags, had no insurance, and had no license. And so when she came to us from Heels Academy, that was her barrier. She needed somebody who could hear her voice and understand the things that had happened to her and to help her. So somehow we got a private investor through Heels Together that was willing to pay for her ticket. So now she is working. She's on a road to self-sufficiency. And I don't think that people see the little things that can happen to people that completely can just throw off your path. And I was seeing it a lot in my former role at the Kentucky Career Center, and I got sick of it. And so when I got the email from the foundation, I think my fingers almost moved faster than my brain, and I just started getting some people together that I knew could do it.
I know nobody here does that, right?
And
nobody here gets really excited, and it's just like, yes, we can do this.
Right.
Let's make it happen.
And
yes.
I cannot leave this stage without mentioning Shantae Sharber and Chris Roberts. They're two of our coaches. They are wonderful with our girls. We have great relationships with our girls. We planned it out to be like a 6-month case management thing, and it's turned more into peer bonding. We love each other. We share each other's energy, and we help each other out. So that's why I created Hills Academy. It's the humanistic side of helping people, and the empathy had been taken away, and I was tired of that.
Was there ever a moment where you felt like, I can't make this happen, or you mentioned it to somebody and somebody said, well, here's an obstacle, here's an obstacle? I run into that all the time. I'll tell somebody something and they'll say, well, that can't happen because...
I don't listen to those people.
You don't listen to those people?
No.
Good for you.
I'm proud of you. High five.
Those people will block you from being the successful you. I listened to the voice inside me, and that voice said, move on.
You made the right decision.
That's right. And one thing I knew, I wasn't smart enough to do it alone, so I had to pull together some other people who had some other strengths that I knew that I had seen out in the community. So we pulled together, and we're actually on our third, we call it leg, maybe it's because of the shoes, but we call it leg of Hills Academy, and we've graduated about 4 women. We graduate April the 14th. And we're just so proud of our women, just the successes that they've had that may seem small to some, but are huge to them and monumental to me.
Every person in this room right now can think of somebody who is on the way to self-sufficiency, or like you said, all those little things. It's easy for us to forget that it is a domino effect of things that happen that could change life for all of us. Absolutely. For the better or worse. And it is part of choices as well. But you said graduate. What does that entail?
Well, hold on. Let me bring you back to where you just said choices.
Choices,
because
yes.
Some people are not equipped to make the correct choice. Some people who have faced traumatic things in their background or don't have a great support system don't make the wisest decisions and the best choices. So, but why should they be damned for doing that? You've got to help each other and pull each other out. Your success is my success.
Thank you for saying that. That's great. I want to make sure we have a little more time. Can I have 5 more minutes? Can I have 5? Okay, and then we'll bring Heather out. Okay. For this event, for this academy, again, you said graduate. What does that mean? What does that entail for a graduate?
Well, when we got together to plan out Hills Academy, we thought about all the building blocks of self-sufficiency, financial literacy, knowing how to manage your money, knowing how to budget it, knowing how to look for a job, knowing how to dress for a job. And we've given them what we think are all the building blocks to self-sufficiency. And so we do that through individualized one-on-one coaching, and we also do that through workshops. We say workshops, but they turn into a party sometimes. We just really have a good time around each other. But we're teaching them things that some people may not get to learn. I mean, I will be honest with you and tell you that when I graduated, my grandmother managed my checkbook for about 6 months. But some people don't have that support system. Some people don't have that woman or that person that's going to hold their hands and teach them those building blocks. And so we just become kind of their support.
Well, before we wrap up and we bring Heather out, what would you like to say to this incredible, smart audience that has the ability to make an impact?
To me, this is incredible. Just to be around all these women. I know you all came to see Heather Lamb, but don't you feel the energy in the room? About all these women who are inspiring each other. I mean, it's real, and we have to hold each other up as women. If we don't do it, you can't count on a man to do it. I love men. I'm married and I love my husband. But I have 3 little girls, and I want to teach them that, hey, if you don't run into the right man like I did with your daddy, you can hold yourself up. And here's how to do it.
Yeah.
All right, and thank you for being such an attentive audience. Before we go, is there something you'd like to say?
I'd like to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who made Shattered Glass and Hills Academy possible. And you all are my inspiration to keep moving on. And you all are just amazing. And it's a blessing to have you all here today. You all are amazing.
Thank you all so much. Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.